Thank you. I'd like to call this meeting to order for the Committee of Adjustment for October 15. I'd like to introduce the committee members. Committee members in attendance this evening are Kevin Antonitis to my right, Dylan Bailey online, Adam Mottershead is online as well, myself, Daniel Collins, and Fabia Billings sends her regrets. She couldn't make it. Staff members present this evening are Walter Basic, the Deputy Director of Planning, and Dilhara Abe-Warden, Administrative Coordinator. Members of the public are advised that our meetings are live streamed by the Town of Grimsby. Individuals and media may be audibly and/or visually recorded during this meeting. As a reminder, all electronic devices are to be in silent mode during our committee. An overview of the meeting procedures. The purpose of the application and relative correspondence will be heard following which the applicant will be given the opportunity to address the application. Any person concerned with the application will then be given the opportunity to speak. At the conclusion of the discussion, the committee will render a decision and advise of any applicable conditions. Copies of the decision will be mailed to the applicant or agent and to any other person who files a written request. To request a copy of the decision, please email Dilhara Abe-Warden, Secretary-Treasurer, at coa@grimsby.ca. The applicant, the Town of Grimsby, the minister, or a specified person or public body has the right to appeal either the decision itself or the conditions of consent to the Ontario Land Tribunal within 20 days of the date of giving of notice under subsection 17 is completed for a consent application and within 20 days of the date of decision for a minor variance application. Specified persons and certain public bodies include public utilities, but do not include an individual or community association. Everyone present will be given an opportunity to comment on the applications being heard. Please address your comments and questions through the chair. Each participant will be provided 5 minutes to speak. Each participant may only speak once. If you hear your comment presented by someone else, please do not duplicate the remarks. When you are called, we ask that you state your name and address for the record. Agencies commenting on applications may request that certain conditions be imposed. Voicing objections to these conditions will not adversely affect the committee's decision. All members of the committee have viewed the properties on the agenda tonight and are familiar with the lands that are subject to the applications. Disclosure of pecuniary interest. Do any members of the committee have a pecuniary interest with respect to the applications that are before us this evening? I see none. Requests for withdrawal or adjournment. Are there any requests for withdrawal or adjournment?
None, but there has been a request for deferral by the applicant of 61 Main Street East.
Okay, thank you. Noted. Have the committee members had the opportunity to review the minutes from September 17, 2024? I have a mover, so I moved by Kevin that it be approved. Do we have a seconder for this? Adam, thank you. So let's take a vote. All in favor say aye or raise your hand. All opposed say no. Okay, that's carried. Tonight we have 3 applications before us. And since we have a deferral, let's begin with the deferral, which is A3324, 61 Main Street East. Would the agent like to come to the lectern and give us your thoughts on this?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's Jared Marcus from Arcadis, representing the owners of 61 Main Street East. We saw the staff comments, mostly supportive. There was one comment that does require some more dialogue and consideration with staff, so we would like to request a deferral of the application while we undertake those conversations.
Thank you. Do you have a date that you have in mind for the deferral? Is it to the next meeting or just a future date?
I'd like to say your December meeting, we should have the ability to have those conversations and resolve all the outstanding issues in time for that meeting.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from the committee on this? No? Okay, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Seconder.
Go ahead.
Seconder.
Oh, seconder? Okay, Adam, thank you. So I have Kevin is moving, and Adam, second. Now we can vote. All in favor, raise your hand. Any opposed? Okay, so that's carried. We find that this be deferred to the December meeting of the Committee of Adjustment. Thank you. Okay, the next application we have is A3524 66 Chevelle Drive.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I'll just go over a small presentation. So the purpose of this application is to facilitate the construction of an accessory building for the purpose of a pool cabana. The variances requested are to permit a minimum exterior side yard setback of 1.3 meters, whereas a minimum of 6 meters is required, and to permit an overhang of 0.46 meters into the required exterior yard, whereas a maximum overhang of 0.25 meters into any required minimum yard is permitted. This is an image of the site plan, which was circulated along with the notice. And this is an image of the neighborhood for context. These are the current conditions on site. And these are the agencies that have provided comments, which I will summarize now. Planning staff have reviewed the application in the context of the 4 tests set out under Section 45 of the Planning Act and are of the opinion that the minor variance meets the intent of the official plan and zoning bylaw, is appropriate for the development of the lands, and is minor in nature. Public Works staff have no comments and one condition, which is town staff will require plans showing the location of downspout discharge points to confirm all downspout locations will be directed toward the road. And the Niagara region and the NPCA have no comments. Back to you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. So we have the owner of this. So if you could just state your name and address for the record, and then speak to the application, if you don't mind.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My name is Mackenzie Hudd, and I live at 66 Chevelle Drive. Relatively straightforward, I think, based on what the presentation that we just reviewed. The pool, I believe, was put in at some point in the 90s, and given the 6-meter bylaw, it makes it very difficult to be able to have any sort of structure along the perimeter. The nature of our yard, as you could see in those images, is not a backyard, it's more of a side yard, and that is where the pool is located. So that's why we've applied for that variance, so that we can have the 1.5 meter border and perimeter along the property line.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions from the committee members? Is there anybody in the public that wishes to speak to this? Nobody online?
There's one person online, but I believe they must be for the next application. Is that right, Monica? Can you confirm?
Yes, we confirm. We are for the next application. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So do we have a motion? Yeah, Adam, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So the motion will be resolved that minor variance application A3524 for 66 Chevelle Drive to permit a minimum exterior side yard setback of 1.3 meters, whereas a minimum of 6.0 meters is required, as per section 4.18, table 2 in zoning bylaw 1445, to permit an overhang of 0.46 meters into the required exterior side yard, whereas a maximum overhang of 0.25 meters into the required minimum yard is permitted as per section 4.18D of zoning bylaw 1445 as amended, be approved with conditions. And the condition is that town staff will require a plan showing the location of downspout discharge points to confirm all downspout locations will be directed toward the road. And the reason for the decision is that the application, the variances are all the intent of the official plan, zoning bylaw. They're desirable for the development of the land, and they're minor.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a seconder for this? Dylan? Okay. Can we vote on this motion? All in favor, raise your hand. Any opposed? I see none. So that's carried. And I just want to note there's a 20-day appeal period that will be after this decision. Thank you for coming.
May I ask one question?
Yep.
The downspout condition. The current design does not have downspout or troughs that would require downspouts for what we're planning on doing with the cabana. So I'm just curious if that is still something that would need to be, I know that that is a condition, but if we do not have eaves troughs, there would be no downspouts.
Okay, thank you. I'll defer that question to Walter.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the next application we have is A3424, 31 Diana Ave, and I'll turn it to you, Delhara.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Sorry, just getting my presentation up. So the purpose of this application is to facilitate the construction of a carport. And the variance requested is to permit a minimum side yard setback of 0.6 meters, whereas a minimum of 1.8 meters is required. This is an image of the site plan, which was circulated along with the notice. And this is what is proposed on site, the elevations. This is an image of the neighborhood for context. These are the current conditions on site. And these are the agencies that have commented on the application, and I will summarize those comments now. Planning staff have reviewed the application in the context of the 4 tests set out under Section 45 of the Planning Act and are of the opinion that the minor variance meets the intent of the official plan and zoning bylaw, is appropriate for the development of the lands, and is minor in nature. Public Works staff have no comments and one condition, which is town staff will require plans showing the location of downspout discharge points to confirm all downspout locations will be directed toward the road. And finally, the region and NPC have no comments regarding this application. Back to you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. We saw earlier that the owner or applicant is online, and would you be able to speak to this application? But before you do so, just state your name and address for our records. Thank you.
Will do. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair, committee members. I'm Monica Trombetta. My husband, Antonio Ladon, behind us. We live at 31 Diana Avenue, Grimsby. We are before you for a minor variance for a minimum setback to facilitate a carport. Reason for the carport is to actually be able to get a whole car in to get to the fence line. So if we are before you for that, thank you for the comments from the planning and members and so forth. And that's all we have. It's basic. It's before you. And thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Any questions from the committee members? I see none. Anyone in the public wish to speak to this? I see no one online, no one here. Do we have a motion? Okay, we have a motion. Kevin?
Okay, so I resolve that minor variance application A3424 for 31 Diana Avenue to permit a minimum side yard setback of 0.6 meters, whereas a minimum of 1.8 meters is required as per Section 7, Table 11, Zoning Bylaw 1445 as amended be approved with conditions. Town staff will require a plan showing the location of downspout discharge points to confirm all downspout locations will be directed toward the road. The reasons being that it meets the intent of the official plan and the zoning bylaw is appropriate for the development use of the property and is minor in nature.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder? Dylan? Okay, let's vote on this motion. All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed? I see none. So this is carried. And just note the 20-day appeal period for your application as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members?
So we have no other business. So the next committee, or do we have any other business? No, I see none. No one from the committee. The next meeting for the Committee of Adjustment will be held on November 20th, 2024, and this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Recording stopped.